Hey everyone, welcome to the Growin Up Podcast. We're your hosts. My name's Nevaeh.
And my name's Amber.
And here on the Growin Up Podcast, we talk about anything and everything about growing up. If that sounds like something you're interested, we hope you join us for the conversation.
Before you get any further into the episode, please take the time to hit the subscribe button and like this video because it's going to be good. So just do that ahead so you don't forget.
Yes, right. And then in the middle, and then at the end, and every single part after that, because
yes,
we're enjoying these conversations and we like making them and want more people to join it with us. So
agreed. And just a little heads up, if you guys are watching this episode on YouTube, I am in a little transition time.
Yeah, let's just point out the obvious right now, Amber. Where are you?
Yeah,
who are you with? Are you okay?
So I'm at a new location. It's a little empty right now, so hopefully it's not too bare, but new background. And I don't have everything set up right now, so I'm using this little microphone. Hopefully the audio is as good as it usually is, if not better. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so a little bit, it'll be a little different today until we get things set.
We love that. Love a makeshift studio.
Yeah. So if this is your first time listening, we do like to start every episode off with sharing something that we learned over the last week. So if I recall, I think it's your time to go first.
Oh my gosh, of course you would. Of course you would. Okay, so this one took a little bit of pulling from the bucket, but I don't think Amber has all these logistical ones all the time about like what she learned at work. And like, I don't want y'all to think that I don't go to work and learn. So let's just shadow a couple of the things that I do, but also telling you what I've learned in the process. So I'm a research coordinator, a clinical research coordinator. I handle clinical trials, all kinds of research studies within the orthopedic realm. But one of the studies I've been working on is a study that's looking at the biomechanics of scoliosis. So looking at models, making models, doing a bunch of imaging, and really looking at the anatomy of scoliosis, including the bones and the muscles. And we've been working on this project for about a year now. And a portion of it is looking at different imaging and whatnot. And so I've been learning a lot about radiology. I've been learning a lot about like imaging and like the format of imaging, specifically for like, medical images, which is pretty cool because when I first got into it, I was like, I have no clue like what I'm doing. Like, I mean, I know like the standards of like an X-ray and MRI, but like I guess I never really understood like what you can do with those images besides like, look at them and diagnose. But like obviously like they show a lot of good information. So yeah, I've been telling Amber all about this though because she's in the tech realm and I've been working with a lot of techs and of different nature, but I was just hyping her up to them and they're like, dang, like, that's some tough stuff right there. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it sounds like it. But a lot of learning, a lot of troubleshooting. So I think that was like the first like big moment where I like learned how to troubleshoot also, and like, okay, this isn't working, who do I ask next? How do I like get this information across? So it's been a lot of good times. Definitely wanted to pull my hair out at some points, but we're all good in the green now. So
oh my God, that's funny. I think you make a good point about like imaging can show a lot of information because for those of you who don't know, I broke my tailbone back in October, but that one X-ray, when I went to different doctors, they all pull it up and they're all able to get something out of it, even though they're in different like specialties in different areas. So it's like, they're not all looking at the same thing, but they're all looking at the same image.
Yeah, so, exactly. And like the whole like idea of like sharing, like I never learned much about that either because I went from like patient care, which like we weren't really looking at the images obviously, to now like, needing that information. So it's really interesting how they share that even between like different institutions or different pediatric doctors and how that whole process works, because that's also a big thing. I think about like what kind of image it is, how big it is, can it be shared with this software? So I didn't think going into orthopedics would be this much radiology, but I guess I should have known, hence we're dealing with bones. So.
That's true. No, yeah. I think that was another thing too, because every time I went to another doctor, they were like, where did you get your imaging done? And then they're like, okay, we pulled it up. And then next thing you know, the doctor has it, you know?
Yeah, because sometimes you have to bring CDs, which is like pretty old school. But like sometimes if you don't have the same software with a different place, like they
Mhm.
require the patients to bring a CD. And I thought that was like outdated, but I guess that's
Yeah.
maybe it's just in my institution problem. But like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And that can take a while because I remember one time I was at my dentist and they were trying to print my CD because I was moving. And it took a while. And I don't know if
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
sure.
normal, but it took a while. I had to sit there for like 30 minutes while it
Yeah, damn.
went
I
about.
mean, images, you got to be your teeth.
And no, no. And why? Tell me why medical offices always have fucking old ass systems. Like,
Yeah.
why are their computers like Windows 2008 or something? Like, why are they so old?
Yeah, I've definitely experienced places like that. I don't know. I really don't know. Like we're finally getting AI into our system, and that's like a big move for us.
Yeah,
So
that's
we'll
pretty
see
cool.
how that turns out. But it's supposed to help with like burnout from like doctors writing notes or nurses and whatnot. It's supposed to help like take the burden off of medical records.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that goes.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I would love to get into that field actually, of using AI in the medical field.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, for my learning session, I actually used AI to help me out with this. So what I learned 10 minutes ago when I researched it
Is it a fun
was
fact? Make sure
it's a
it's
fun
fun.
fact. It's a fun fact slash like a little interesting learning thing, I guess. But okay, so did you know? Sorry, I messed that. We had to cut that out. That siblings can actually influence each other's personalities more than parents.
Oh, I
So
don't
like,
doubt it.
well, yeah, but like, you know how a lot of people say, "Oh, you get that from your mom," but what if you're really just getting it from your sibling?
Yeah, but what about only children?
Oh yeah, that's sad.
No,
Aw, that's
I
not
can see.
fun anymore.
No, but that does make a lot of sense because then that shows a lot about like how the only child was, without a sibling, like and how that like
Yeah.
dynamic means. Then maybe they do just get it from their parents.
Yeah, that's true. Well, after I like learned that initial one, I kind of started chatting with Chatty. And it says that firstborns are most likely to be responsible, achievement oriented, and cautious. And then, I couldn't tell like for you because there's only two of us really, Well, technically you're a middle child, huh?
I'm a middle
You're a
child, yeah.
Oh yeah. So you are often become the peacemaker or rebels, depending on what your older sibling was. And usually it says that you usually take after your older sibling. So if your older sibling is more like goal oriented, you're most likely to be like that. But if your older sibling is rebellious, then you're most likely to be rebellious. But what
Hmm.
if you're both? Because I was both.
I think I only seen half of you, Amber, and be honest, because I would not consider myself very rebellious.
That's funny. But do you think like in any other way that like what do you think? Do you think you were influenced by me, like your
Yeah.
personality?
No,
Yeah.
100%. I do think that I was for a lot of it. I feel like especially with like trying to navigate society, yeah, very much so, which is like majority of your life, you know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
feel like in the realm of like dealing with like family, maybe not so much, or like, that whole like personal life, but I feel like as a like trying to navigate the world, most likely,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very navigate very influencer-esque.
Yeah. That's kind of weird because sometimes I think of you of having those traits that I'm missing. So I feel like it's like the opposite effect where you filled in of having the traits that I don't have. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe
Like
it's
for
just because like
example,
I was maybe just decision based,
true.
like we made some decisions, but then there was just that one decision that just wrong road.
That's so funny. This is another thing it says that having a supportive sibling can act as a protective factor against stress, anxiety, and even depression in tough times. But if you have toxic sibling relationships, like if there was bullying or anything like that, which we never had, it can lead to lower self esteem and
Okay,
trust
Amber, thanks for
issues.
answering that question
And
on
trust
behalf of the
issues.
both of us.
But we don't have trust issues. We were
I don't think
happy.
so. Yeah, I think so. I would have to agree with that statement.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen any like sibling dynamics though where it's been more of a
Toxic.
negative? Yeah, toxic.
I could think of a couple. Well,
That's
like I
funny.
guess like not huge very much like personally, but I think definitely like in like media they do a very good job of like portraying that.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not a good job, but like, you know, gives you a little bit of an idea.
true. I'm thinking of Shameless. That's my sibling dynamic going on in my head right now.
No, Shameless. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm just
I thought they all got
negative.
along very well.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys think that Shameless represents a good relationship or bad. I feel like there are some bad characteristics, but I feel like they're like the dad really made them tighter than they probably would have been had they had both parents.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how like the dad in Shameless, what is his name?
Frank.
Isn't it funny how they kind of portray him as a bad person, but in the end, like you just said that he kept the family together, but
Yeah.
he's like the protagonist slash like good guy.
Yeah. Is he really good though? Let's be honest.
Oh, you know those last couple episodes they got to you.
He like ended up in like Canada, like, and brought his son all the way out to the cold.
Okay, anyways, the whole point of me bringing up that fun fact and why I searched that specifically was because we thought we'd do a little sibling edition.
Were you waiting for me?
No, I don't know.
No, yeah, I think we held off on this episode for a very long time. I, however, have been wanting to do this episode for a couple months now, but Amber was like, no, it's not time. It's not time. And here it is. It's time. Sibling edition, where we talk about anything and everything about growing up with each other.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. So for those of you who don't really know me and Nevaeh, we had an interesting childhood upbringing. We were together and then we weren't together and then we were back together and then we weren't together. So even though it seems like we have a very strong bond, which we do, you know, it was grown through distance a lot of our childhood, I guess you can say.
And here we are.
But I guess that's what made us, that's what made us stronger, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there was a portion of our, I guess, like childhood, obviously, where Amber went to school, I was by myself, and so like that whole portion, like the whole upbringing. But I also feel like that was very much a turning point for us also, because like we got to the point where we were a little bit more like able to do stuff with each other a little bit more. But like I don't think we've ever had like a moment where we were like, while we weren't like physically near each other, where we weren't like emotionally, or like our bond was never like strained, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like physically we were like away, but I feel like we've never been like a point where I was like, oh, I hate you, Amber.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. We've always been really tight. Me and Nevaeh were 5 years apart, so it's like that awkward 5.5. It's like that awkward, like it's a little bit of a distance to where we weren't really like, you know, friends like on the same level, but it also wasn't where you were too young to where I treated you like, you know, like a baby in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting gap in age is what I would say.
Yeah, because Amber was like, there was never a point where like we went to school with each other. I always find that interesting. Like when siblings go to school, I always wonder how that was. Like, oh, you're so and so's like sibling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we never were in like the same pace of school. So like when you were in elementary, I was in middle school. When you were in middle school, I was in high school. So we were never together.
Yeah. And then yeah. So kind of skipped out on that one. Do you think that would have changed? Do you think that would have changed anything though?
Yes, I think so. I think that we would have like had more of that bickering with each other. Like I think we would have had more moments where we butted heads.
Yeah.
But I felt like we had that enough distance where like our home life we were okay and we were very close, but then you know, we also had that time away from each other going to school. Because if I had to see you all the time,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I did try to hang out with your friends and you did not let me.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, but
I
yeah,
w-
no, I agree. I do think it would be a lot different. I also feel though that what also really helped us out in our relationship is that we have very similar like charisma and like, you know, those portion like those values are the same most of the
yeah,
time. But I feel like we're just very different personalities.
for sure.
Like, you know, we're kind of like I want to say like polar opposite, but I would say definitely
Yeah.
opposites.
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about in like my learning session was it says that we, you know, siblings have more of an effect on personalities, but we're kind of in a sense different. Like
Yeah, yin
so it
and
had
yang.
it had an influence in like the opposite way.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that.
So what would you kind of like what would your one word describe like our relationship as we were young? Like were we competitive? Were we inseparable? Like what were we?
I think oh, that's a hard question. I don't think none of those two. I would say very much given like warmth.
Warmth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Like
right.
I feel like there was always a point where we kind of like always found like comfort within each other in a lot of times,
Mhm.
which I think helped us a lot in our like childhood and whatnot, which led us to how we are now. Because it's not
Mhm.
like we have to like be there with each other, but like it's the fact that we already know that we will be there for each other, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Oh my god. um I think so just a little back reference. My mom had me when she was really young, right? She was like 15 years old. So shout out to my mom too for being able to raise me and my sister as a single mother. But with that, it was a lot of me and Nevaeh kind of being there for each other. I think that's where that warmth comes in. So as my mom, you know, was out there working and stuff like that, it tended to be a lot of just me and my sister um, together. And so I think that's kind of where that bond for us grew.
Yeah.
And it was more like, you know, I was kind of a, I guess in a sense, a mother figure, I guess you can say, while my mom was out working. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I think that that's definitely a good way of putting it. And like obviously too, like I learned a lot of like a lot of my own habits and like things that I do now, like because we developed those together too.
Mhm.
Like I don't know why, like a lot of my reflection on our childhood has a lot to do with cleaning for some reason. Like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of that had to do with like our cleaning and like us finding joy in it. Like I don't know
Oh my
what,
God.
but I feel like that's maybe just because like that was after school, you know, clean house. Maybe it's because we
Yeah.
lived in lower income housing. We had inspections monthly.
That's funny because in the last episode, you said that your favorite thing about us growing up was cleaning. And I was like, what? When I
Oh,
listened
yeah.
to that again, I was like, okay, that's interesting.
I did. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but yeah, because like even like summertime too, like I feel like those are always big moments, which obviously I'm probably sure that's for like a lot of people because you don't have school. But I feel like we
Yeah.
always did like really fun stuff during the summer and like we're making like, you know, these random events
Yeah.
and walking home from school.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of that too is that we grew up in smaller towns. So
Oh, that's true.
we had that ability to like live that town lifestyle, I guess.
Yeah.
Hometown vibe. So we were able to get to go around the city, you know, playing outside and the going to the playground, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You never took me to the playground. What are you talking about?
Oh, well, I went by myself. No, but like, I don't know. Cause sometimes I imagine, like, if I were to have kids in a city like as big as Denver, I wonder what my child's life would be like, their
That's
youth,
true. Yeah.
because it's different growing up in a city. Well, at least I would think so. Because if I had a kid in a city, I'd be more cautious, But if I had a kid in a smaller town, I'd be a little bit more lenient about letting them go out and about.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. What would your one word be to describe our relationship?
Hmm. My one word would probably be, what would my one word? I want to say survival, but that sounds a little like intense because
Damn.
we weren't survival. We were responsible, I would say. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
I feel like we we were living the childhood, but also like being able to get by and do things that we wanted and still be, I guess, responsible about it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, sometimes I think about our childhood and I'm like, we were very smart young kids.
I agree.
Like, yeah.
I
And
feel
I
like
think
we
that's,
definitely that reflects a lot on how we are now. Um like in today's age.
yeah.
So yeah, because I think that's the biggest thing that I got a lot as I was
Hmm.
going through like high school and college, and they're like, "You're very mature, Nevaeh," and like
Yeah.
a lot of that, I always felt like I owed that to you also, because of like just the mentality. But I
Hmm.
think maybe it was something we created together, you know,
Yeah.
type stuff,
Yeah.
type stuff.
I think that does have a lot to do, though, with having a young mother. Um, I say this often, but when I think about my mom, our mom, raising us at the age she was, like, she must have still been learning, because when I was that age, I was still learning a lot. So we kind of all grew up together learning. And I think that made us a little bit more responsible in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, and also closer with mom as well, because I feel like obviously, I feel that's like very common for single like motherhood, like
Yeah.
mothership, yeah,
Yeah.
is that you kind of then have a little bit of a different relationship than I guess that typical mother relationship, which
Hmm.
I feel like also helped us a lot kind of figure out
Yeah.
how to navigate this thing we call the world life.
That's true. I think also another thing that had a big effect on us was that we lived in, off the reservation. And for those
Mm-hmm.
who don't know, like, we're Native American, and growing up on the reservation is a completely different thing than growing up somewhere like Flagstaff, which was not far from the reservation, but it does make a big difference.
Yeah.
So we were a little bit more, we had that background, I guess you can say, of knowing life on the reservation, but also living in a city
Yeah.
vibe. So I think that also had a lot of influence on the way that we perceived life and the way that we grew up.
Question: what is one duo that you think represents us as sisters?
A duo?
Iconic duo. Yeah. Let me start thinking too.
No, I don't know. Cat dog. Just kidding. No, I don't know if I have a duo, but like the first thing that comes to mind is the kids next door. Like, I feel like I was kind of more of the leader guy, the bald boy, that guy.
Yeah.
And then you were just the girl with the long sleeves. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Insert picture here.
That's so
And
random. That's like a dug out of the book.
that is, but that was the first thing that came to mind. And I think that just because, again, they're like sophisticated kids, but they're also going on adventures and, um, you know, they're doing things that typical non-kids would be doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what's your duo?
What's the guy? Okay. What's the guy's name? The two guys' name from Lion King?
Oh
Pumbaa.
my God. And Timon.
Yeah. And guess who's which?
I want to be Timon.
Well, that's already what I had in mind. So
Thanks.
I'm just kidding. Wait, let me make sure I'm getting this right.
Timon is the little guy.
Yeah, actually, okay, yeah, that's the one I had in mind for you. Why don't you like him?
No, I love him. That's why I know. Now, though, if I have to describe our relationship, we're like Marlon and Dory, and I'm Dory and you're Marlon. We like switch roles as we got older.
That's so funny because I was like, there is no way I am Dory. I really thought you were gonna call me Dory for a second. I was the same. I don't know. That's funny. I don't know what I would describe us as now. Probably still Timon and
Yeah.
Pumbaa.
Oh my god, that's funny. I think that I feel like we did switch kind of roles in life. I mean, not necessarily, but I think that as I grew up, I was able to become more free. Where I think part of that, like helping take care of you when you were younger, I was so responsible at being young. So once I got older, like, and you were good off into the world, spreading your wings.
You're
like
an empty nester now.
Yeah, I'm an empty nester. So now I'm like, oh my God, I can be spontaneous. I guess I could have always been spontaneous, but there was just a, little weight taken off my shoulder, knowing that you're
a
good.
Paper crumbled and thrown.
I was going to say a chip off my shoulder, but you're a little bit better than a chip.
Oh my gosh. And now I understand why you did not want to do this episode.
That's funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I would say I do find myself to be a little bit boring at times. In a little bit. No, okay. I guess like more just in the sense of like I would choose to I've chosen a life where I'm going to be inside for a lot of it, and a lot of my time is going to be spent towards my career. And that's kind of just the life I chose. And obviously there probably would have been alternatives that may have made me equivalent money. But I just chose to, be indoors, yeah. indoors.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So how would you say our relationship changed as we've grown up then? Like kind of how I said we kind of switched around. Is that?
Well, I feel like I idled you for a long time, and then I realized that I was the idol. I'm just kidding.
You found out I wasn't as good as you thought I was.
I feel like Amber was very good at being a good role model. So wait. I feel like Amber was very good at being a role model, which hence why we did a lot of my high school time was equivalent or about equivalent. It was derived from Amber's path through high school. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I got through that point, and then but in high school, I was my head in the books, and that was not the same case for both of us. And I just felt I was damn, I could have, you're telling me I could have been out here in them streets, but my head was in the books, because I thought your head was in the books too. But you had your toes in the street.
Oh my God. If you guys want an episode on my crazy childhood, let us know in the comments, because I got some stories.
Exactly. And now here I am finding out these secrets, and I'm okay, you're telling me I could have had a little bit of dabble in fun over here, and I was no, I need to graduate with my associate's degree before I graduate high school. So I think that was the turning point.
When you found out the truth.
I found out the truth. I was mind blown. But I feel also too, it got to a point where I looked up to Amber so much that I knew that I always knew that I kind of wanted to do good by Amber. And like I literally have pictures like from middle school where I'm like, Amber, my sister, the best person in the world. Which, you know, she is. She is. But like I think I forgot about the age difference for a long time. And sometimes like, you know, that's still the case. But like maybe that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is. I don't know. But you know, I just feel like that really changed the dynamic for me. It was like when we were like kind of filling each other out.
As we got older or when we were younger?
As we got older.
As we got older.
But in the beginning, I felt like I was trying to fill you. But now it's like more equivalent, you know?
Yeah.
Back to the yin and yang thing.
That's true. That's very true.
So I feel like that's where I seen like the shift become as that realization became a little bit more apparent. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Final answer.
You know, final answer. It's funny because like I remember us growing up together, but mostly I just remember high school, like the last 4 years of my, like, I guess living in the same house with you. Those are the most distinct memories that I have, obviously probably because I was older, but I think that was also a time where we were at that age where we could, again, I didn't have to worry about you so much.
Yeah.
Because you were grown. So I think that was my fun time with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like that was a good point for me also. But then that's funny though, because those are also the years that I found more apparent as well. So maybe it does have to do with just age, because when I was getting into high school, like I think I spent a lot more time with Amber because she moved a little bit more closer to northern Arizona. So I was like able to like go visit her more often. I was driving, had my driver's license. So like, yeah, I would agree. But I also, there are some pretty specific times I remember back in them days.
Yeah. So just a little backtrack. I know you've mentioned this before, but when I went off to college, originally out of high school when I was 17, you mentioned a lot of times that you were hurt when I left. Can you talk a little bit about like what that was? Because we grew up together for, you know, all my 17 years, and then all of a sudden I was gone. Like, how did that affect you once I was out of the home and on my own?
Well, a couple months after I was diagnosed with abandonment issues. I'm just kidding. No, I think it was just because we did spend so much time together, like while mom was working, and like I feel like it was a lot of the times just me and you for a lot of my memories. And so when you left, it was like, I know she's going to college, or was supposed to be going to college. But like it just kind of felt more of like a loneliness, because then I was like, oh shit, well now I'm just chilling by myself, because like I feel like there were a lot of times where we dealt with a lot of like different issues that came up with each other, like that brought that comfort to each other. So like knowing that like if like something happened, or like, you know, there's a bickering, or like I failed a test, you know, like that you would be somebody that I could go home and talk to. And honestly, that's probably where our relationship with FaceTime started, because that was Amber's convincing me was, oh, I'll FaceTime you every once a week or something like that. It was like, yeah.
It was Skype back then.
Oh, yeah. It was Skype. Nah, because you got your iPad.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think we did do a couple of Skypes, but it was FaceTime. And Amber was like, oh, yeah, like I'll FaceTime you every like once a week or something like that. And then we did. And I was so sad because I was like, what about all this learning I have left to do? Who's going to teach me? So yeah, that was hard. That was the tough part for me. And then like, think it was just heavy on the like school part because I feel like, you know, we kind of both found a lot of interest in school and like the whole concept of school for a minute.
Yeah.
So that kind of was like something I was like, oh well, like who am I supposed to talk to about my homework?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel used, like you just used me.
I did. I really did.
Yeah.
And even like when I got into
Yeah.
high school, I'm like, damn, like fucking not here to teach me calculus. Now I gotta learn this stuff on my own.
That's funny.
So that's
Yeah,
what
I
it
think
felt like.
it's a hard transition, I think, and you don't really think about that when it's like when it comes to siblings when one finally leaves.
Yeah.
Because you know, I was young, and when I went off into the world, like I was like, no offense, but I was off into the world, and it
Yeah.
was like a part of me. I wouldn't say like I missed you, of course, but you know, it wasn't as big of a toll on me as it was probably on you
Yeah.
until I like started to settle down and got over my like, you know, flying out of the nest
Yeah.
section. And then that's when like I moved a little bit closer to you. So like you said, you were able to come down and you were older as well, which I think made a big difference.
Yeah.
Because going out to college and versus someone in high school, you know, like that's kind of that makes a difference a little bit
Yeah.
larger. Not like years, but you're in different sections of life. You know, now you got your youth and then you're like young adulthood. So
Yeah.
once you got a little bit closer to that age, I think that's when I started to see, you know, how much our relationship really mattered and start to put a
Yeah.
little bit more effort into it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the case for a lot of siblings. You know, we kind of don't no, like what no matter what the relationship is, you kind of realize like whether they're an annoying little sibling or not.
Yeah. Yeah. But now that you're older, I feel like we literally talk every day. It's a problem sometimes.
What the
um,
heck?
no, I mean not like a big problem, but you know, it's like
Kind of.
now we've just become so big of this support system for each other in like our career,
Yeah.
relationships, and just like everything that has to do with life, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's insane how close we are, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I agree. I agree. It is kind of crazy because you know there's a lot of times where like people always like mention they're like, oh, you and your sister are so close and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like also I don't some you know, and obviously maybe I take it for granted sometimes and maybe I shouldn't, but you know I'm like, oh yeah. I
Yeah.
do. But yeah. Um
You know, another thing too, for those who don't know, we do have a brother. Um, and it's also that age in life where he's like just became an adult. He just graduated high school last year. So now I feel like I'm going through that transition again where I'm getting close with him, you know, because he's at that age where he's an adult. And I
yeah.
think just being in the same category as adult makes that bond a little bit easier to make because again it goes back to creating that support system where now we have, you know, an adult brother who we can now talk life with and
Yeah.
just kind of be there for each other.
Yeah. I think it's always so interesting too as like I guess like not even just siblings in general, but just like watching people find their footing. I that
Yeah.
will always just amaze me on how like, you know, those factors do come in from different areas of your life and how that might influence you to be the person that you are. Which is always an interesting thing to I guess dive into and understand. I think and that's why we like to have a lot of conversations with people we just met, our friends and whatnot, to kind of understand those characteristics because I feel like it just brings more meaning to the individual themselves and you know their place in life and you know how that might help and benefit you. So I think that's always just something interesting to look into. And we look into it a little bit too much in our sisterhood over here.
Yeah. So what would you say is the best thing about having a sibling?
A sibling or a sister?
Yeah. Like what's yeah. I mean, like what's your favorite part about, having me be there?
I think it has to do a lot with the humor sometimes, because I feel like we have a very we have a very much our own humor in very different ways, but there's like a humor that only we understand sometimes, and that should be the funniest thing ever.
Are you talking about our SpongeBob reference?
Yeah, that. But there's also just like moments too where like we're literally the only people cracking up, and everybody's
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
like it wasn't even that funny. I mean, we're like, ah, you know. But like that, and it's just funny, and I feel like that's just something we've always cracked up about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think my favorite part is about having you as a sibling or sister, sorry. Is probably just that you're also very driven and spontaneous. So
Oh,
that means
good.
that we can do random things together, which I like. So um yeah, I think it's just the adventureful part. Also the fact that you moved out to a different state gives me a reason to go out to this different state, just things like that.
Who's being used now?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, but I just think things like that. Also, like one thing that I'm thinking about too is remember when you were living in Minnesota, I was living in Arizona, and we planned a trip to Seattle, and then you flew from Minnesota and I flew from Arizona. That was spontaneous, and we were
That
both down
was,
for the cause in the
yeah,
middle of COVID.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I think just having you be there to go on adventures with me, even though
Yeah,
now it's a little bit harder because we're adults
yeah,
and
yeah.
things cost money, but
That's true.
uh
That is true.
but when we're with each other too, just we can go anywhere and do anything and have a great time out of it, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I feel like also too how we can share friends, because
Oh my god. Yeah.
no, we can. Like we've gotten to the point where like, we have very similar what we look for in friends, and the
Yeah.
whole idea of friendship, which I think has benefited us a lot, because it kind of allows us to grow our circle. um Ever stop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I think that's also fun too, that we can share friends.
Sorry, I cannot take this serious. Just for those who don't know, Nabi's been trying to get in my friend circle all her life.
That's because you won't
I'm
let
just
me
kidding.
in.
No, she has some pretty cool friends too, I guess.
Yeah. So no, I
Ugh.
do think that's really cool though, because like there are like times where like people bicker about it, and like, or like, sometimes you get friends of siblings, and you're like, or you see in movies, I guess, only reference, and they're like, oh, I hate her friend or something like that. But I feel like we've never
Yeah.
like had that instance where I'm like, oh, Amber, I hate your friends. Like, I feel like we have very good judgment in people, which benefits us both, because it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
that would be cool to hang out with your friends, or like, you're like, oh, I don't want to bring my sister around my friends, or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So point
That's true.
settled. Maybe I should have went into law school.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what's the hardest part about having me as a sister?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Let me go first.
Okay. Damn, Amber. Okay, go
Let
ahead.
me go
Let's hear
first.
it. Let's hear it.
The hardest thing about having Nevaeh as a sister is probably that she is so in her mind all the time.
I
You've
knew that was
mentioned,
coming.
I mean, you guys all have heard that she worries about time. She cries when she fails a test. She, I think that the hardest part is Navi is always putting a little bit more thought into things that I don't. And sometimes I'm like, it's okay. The world goes on. Like, there will always be another test. or not, but
Yeah, or not. Good point.
no, I think that's just the hardest part is because we are kind of different in the things that are prioritized. I mean, as they are with everyone, nobody cares about the same thing, but I think that's just the hardest part is being able to
Yeah,
keep you calm and remind you that the world goes on.
that's true. That is true. I would have to, yeah, that is something I have a problem with. I recognize and I recognize and I will accept and acknowledge.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I got one. Okay.
Okay.
One thing that makes it hard to be siblings with Amber. Wait, was that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, that's a mean question. Okay. Um Amber's very good at guilt tripping.
What?
Okay, maybe that's a little harsh a way of saying it, but Amber's very good at like she's freaking always right, or she always is very good at explaining something and you're like, okay, yeah. But like she's very good at that. And it's like, damn it, let me win it sometimes. So sometimes I get very proud when I do. Like those moments where I'm like, ah, it was me this time. Those are achievable moments for me. But she is very good at it. Like she's like, we gotta go. You guys gotta go to Denver, and then she'll keep guilting me about it. And
Oh my
it's how we
gosh.
end up in Denver, and that's how we
Yeah.
ended up in
Oh,
Seattle.
wait. You've never even came to visit me in Denver.
I have never.
How many times?
Once.
Thank you. Point proven. I should be the lawyer.
No, but my poor husband's over here trying to make his way over to Denver.
Oh. Okay, I will say that's one of my favorite things about us being siblings at this age now and having significant others who get along. Big key factor, who get along, because now it's like double dating all the time.
That's true. Yeah.
Like you found a significant other that I really get along with and who my significant other gets along with, and then vice versa,
Yeah.
So it's like our circle got a little bigger. Just
I
having our
told you we're
significant
always
others.
contributing. We're always contributing to the circle.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here's a good question. What is our biggest argument we've ever had?
Who was gonna take out the trash? No.
We don't really argue, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying about like our biggest arguments is us not caring about something the same amount.
Yeah.
Like when something
So we're able to talk each other down from it instead of escalate it? Is that what you're saying?
I think it's just that like we don't necessarily argue about it. It's just we both don't have the same amount of effort toward it. So like say you failed a test.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal to you.
Yeah.
And you're upset about it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's just a test. And then we don't agree on your
my importance of
priority of the test. Yes, the importance of your test. So then that's just like you get angry. This doesn't always happen that way. But you would get angry that I don't care.
Yeah, I feel that's a good one.
Yeah. I think that it's just like sometimes we get upset that we don't have the same amount of care for something as the other.
Yeah.
Like we expect each other to be so alike because we're so close.
Yeah.
So when there's that one thing we don't agree on, it causes frustration.
Yeah. That's a good one. I would have to, yeah.
But I don't think we've ever had a big argument.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Nothing comes to mind.
Mm-mm. Not like where we were to the point where we weren't like on speaking terms or like not seeing each other, which is great. That's a great. But I do have to second that because I feel like that does come up. But like, worse things could be the cause of an argument, and like for it to be like not the same values when we already share so many values, like And
Yeah. Yeah. So knock on wood, we never have any big arguments.
Yeah, knock on wood. Cross your fingers. Okay, let's just a good closing out question. Who would survive longer in the wild, and why?
Me.
Why? Who are you feeding me to? I know you're gonna feed me to someone.
Wait. Are we gonna be together on said island, or is it like if I was on island alone?
Who said we were gonna be on the island?
Wait, what did you say?
I said the wild.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Separate.
Oh, but okay, separate.
Separate.
So I'm not feeding you to anyone, unfortunately. But ooh, I just feel like I have a little bit more of the survival skills. Earlier you were in a car and you saw a spider web and then you were scared there was a spider on you for the whole drive. So
you're the one that's literally scared of spiders. So I don't know why you would bring that point up when you know you would be just as scared as me.
Oh my god, that's valid. Yeah, I still feel like it would be me. I think I have a little bit more survival skills.
I think Amber, what kind of survival skills you got?
I went to Camp Colton.
I did too.
No. I could eat animals.
Do you think I'm vegetarian or something?
I can cook my own rabbits. No, I don't know. That's a good question.
I feel like maybe. No, I think I would still live first.
No, then you tell me why.
Okay, I think I would live first because I'm very strategic. I'm very strategig. I am a good problem solver, and like
this isn't an interview.
Hi, I'm here to interview to be the longest survivor on this in the wild. No, I think I just have just a little bit more experience than you do outdoors.
Speak for yourself. I mean, you're a good fisher, but that only took 20 years for you to get there.
Our first argument on episode.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I think I would, but also I could see you living. I feel like together you would live. You know what? I'll give it to you. No, I'll give it to you because I feel like something dumb would happen to me. Like I'd freaking break a bone or snap my ankle or something, and
that doesn't even have to happen in the wild. It happens on the daily.
That's why I'm saying that. Is that like I feel like that might be the cause of my death. So I just feel like maybe you have a little bit more stamina.
Okay, I'll give it to you. You can live longer in the wild, but if we were in a scary movie, I'd be the survivor.
Yeah, because you'd probably throw me at the person.
Yeah, that's a hard question.
That is a hard question.
That's funny. All right. Okay, so do you have any advice for our listeners that that maybe not have as strong as a sibling relationship as we do? Like, what would your advice be to them to strengthen their relationship or improve their relationship?
That's a good question.
Would you like me to go first?
Yes, go ahead. Take it away.
I would say the advice that I would give to people who may not have a relationship like me and Nevaeh would be that it's okay to break their hearts once in a while. Oh. I think that as siblings, it's a little bit easier to be upfront with them, again, depending on their relationship. But I think sometimes it's best to hear it from someone that you know truly loves you, even though it may be tough, than to hear it from someone else. But no, I think that's it. Just be upfront with them if you have to. Like, obviously, don't be mean or anything about it. But maybe sometimes you need to be. I'm just saying, like, I think that one of the biggest things that's made us a little bit closer is, like, we're able to tell each other up front, like, yo, like get your shit together, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my advice. Again, take it with a grain of salt, because then that can also cause arguments. But then again, like if
Maybe
you're
those are
fighting with
arguments that
someone,
need to help. Or
yeah.
yeah.
And if like it comes to that point where you're not talking, then again, speak up and okay, sorry, we just had a technical issue. My little mic died. So I am now using the microphone of my phone. But yeah, so that was kind of my advice for siblings to improve. Go ahead, Nevaeh, take it away.
I was going to say something very similar to that, but like on the contrary, which is will probably be telling to our relationship. But I was going to say, don't be afraid to tell them things, because they're not going to like, they may like their reaction might not be exactly what you're expecting. That so it kind of goes along very similar with that, but I think just more of like the point of like don't be afraid to be vulnerable with somebody, because I feel like you don't well, whether you think they're gonna be mad or angry or like upset at you, like that's not always the case, and that might not always be the case. So like I feel like there's just things that could be a lot worse sometimes, that it's not worth just sitting there and pondering about something, when you can just get your answers sooner.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think just trust in communication. Like I think that's kind of what sums up our thing, is having that trust that we can rely on between each other, telling each other things. I guess it's the same. Different points of view.
Yeah, and I think also understanding your family dynamic and talking about that, because I feel like we've talked a lot about our family dynamic and like what's made us us, and I feel like that's something that always tends to be hard for people to hear, or like have a hard like conversation about. But I think it's always good to acknowledge those feelings and emotions that one might have felt in their upbringing or through life, and then kind of pick it apart together. So
okay. All right. Well, since we're having some technical difficulties, it sounds like we're going to close out here. Go ahead and close us out, Nav.
Well, yes, like Amber said, technical difficulties. I don't know why my side has so many technical difficulties today. I didn't go anywhere, but thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope that it gave you a little bit more insight to our relationship as sisters and us more on a different level, but also answers a lot of questions or feelings, or validates a lot of emotions, or brings up questions in your own relationships with your siblings. We would love to hear a little bit more about how you've navigated those hard transitions in life, or things that might spark your relationship with your sibling, because again, we love to hear about other people's upbringings and their relationships with others. So feel free to tell us a little bit more down below.
And if you don't have a sibling, I really want to know what it's like being an only child.
It's like, I wish I got to know. Let me live through you.
No, I just want to know, like, who do they depend on for their, that person?
That's true. That is true.
Who is there to tell you to get your shit together,
Yeah. That's a good point. I take it back. Cool. I take it back. But if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified when we post our videos, because we kind of have been a little bit off, but hopefully we can get back on track here. But if you want to stay up to date with any new releases on YouTube, feel free to push the notification button down below, the little bell. And if you want even more media updates, feel free to follow us on Instagram or our TikTok. And yeah,
we are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well.
Oh yes. So if you're on the go, or you just want to plug your headphones in real quick, is plug not the right word?
No. Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.